Over the course of his decades-spanning career, Robert Redford has achieved the status of Hollywood legend. But the actor has also suffered numerous tragedies in his personal life that are less widely known. Join Facts First as we uncover tragic secrets about Robert Redford's personal life. Robert Redford was born in Santa Monica, California on August 18, 1939. Robert's mother died when he was only 5, which was the first of numerous familial tragedies he faced in his life, introducing a stepbrother into Robert's life. One of the constants in his life as a child was his uncle named David. David died while serving in the Army in 1945, the second tragedy of Robert's young life. When Robert was still young, he was diagnosed with polio. While the illness could have proven deadly, he managed to survive the bout without any noticeable lasting effects. Still, this episode caused him to have a great sympathy for others afflicted with the illness. As a result of the numerous hardships he had experienced at a young age, Robert exhibited some behavioral problems growing up. He had a proclivity for misbehaving at school and would take any excuse to eschew his education. As Robert grew into his teenage years, his propensity for misbehaving turned criminal. Among other things, the actor has said his teenage self could often be found stealing hubcaps. Despite his propensity for misbehaving and disinterest in education, young Robert showed a natural talent in athletics. He was so good at football during his high school career, he got a college scholarship. He went on to attend the University of Colorado. But he started drinking during his college years, and his alcohol abuse eventually was so bad the college kicked him out. But while attending school, Robert met the woman who would become his first wife. His first wife was named Lola Van Wagenen. When Robert was kicked out of school, Lola dropped out to be with him. The two subsequently went to Las Vegas together and eloped. Several years later, the couple was able to afford a more elaborate ceremony for their friends and family members. In 1987, the University of Colorado awarded Robert an honorary degree for his work in the film industry. Tragedy befell Robert once again when he and his new wife had their first child. The first child passed away due to sudden infant death syndrome when he was only a few months old. This left a scar on Robert and would irreparably damage his first marriage as well. Still, he and Lola went on to have a few more children after the death of their first. 2 years after the tragic death of their firstborn son, Robert and Lola had a daughter. That daughter's name was Shauna, and a second son named Jamie followed her. Several years after Jamie was born, Robert and Lola had another daughter named Amy. Jamie's birth came with complications, as he was born several weeks premature, and began suffering from a serious respiratory illness. Though the child survived, he continued to have health problems throughout his life. By the age of 30, Jamie had undergone several surgical operations due to his numerous health issues. Robert and Lola's third child was born in 1970, at which point Robert was already well on his way to becoming a Hollywood legend. Robert first took up acting in the late 50s, uttering a single line in the 1959 Broadway play Tall Story. From there, the actor continued on the stage and also transitioned into television and film. His first cinematic role came in the 1960 film adaptation of Tall Story. Though his turn in Tall Story only offered him the opportunity to utter a single line, he was given a starring role in the Korean War film War Hunt. But his breakout role didn't come until his 1965 turn in the film Inside Daisy Clover, a performance which won the actor the Golden Globe Award for Best New Star. The film 3 Days of the Condor saw Robert cast as a spy, and the star proved perfect in the action thriller role. From there, Robert was given his iconic role in the 1969 feature Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He was cast as the titular Sundance Kid alongside Paul Newman's Butch Cassidy. The studio was originally hesitant to cast Robert in the role, but Paul was insistent upon it, and the film became a major hit. After Paul stuck his neck out for Robert to appear in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the actors remained great friends and went on to even greater heights. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Robert Redford and Paul Newman reunited to even greater acclaim in the 1974 feature The Sting. The movie was the top-grossing film of the year, proving more successful than the pair's team-up in the prior feature. Robert also appeared in plenty of other hits during the 70s, including The Way We Were and All the President's Men. Both movies had a political slant, with The Way We Were being more of a drama and All the President's Men as a thriller. Both films showcased his increasing political interests. Robert continued his successful acting career in the 80s, appearing alongside Meryl Streep in Out of Africa, And he became a director at the cusp of the decade, achieving immense acclaim with his 1980 directorial debut, Ordinary People. Later in the decade, Robert appeared in the popular romantic thriller Indecent Proposal. It was a commercial hit and further proved Robert's status as a full-blown movie star. During the 90s, Robert maintained star status both behind and in front of the camera. His hit drama The Horse Whisperer marked the first film in which Robert directed himself in a starring performance. It also marked the on-screen debut of Scarlett Johansson, who would appear alongside Robert again nearly 2 decades later in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Despite Robert's immense success as an actor, the star has never received an Academy Award for his acting, but he has received some for his behind-the-scenes work, including for directing Ordinary People. In the 2010s, Robert had been working in Hollywood for many decades and could easily have been taking it easy. But he decided instead to take on an immense physical challenge in the form of filming the 2014 survival thriller All Is Lost. The film was a one-man show in which Robert depicted a man struggling for survival on a sinking ship. The film was made using practical effects. That same year, he could be seen on cinema screens in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. His appearance in the film was notable due to the fact that several elements of the film referenced Robert's 1970s political thrillers. After his appearance in the acclaimed 2018 feature The Old Man and the Gun, the actor officially announced his retirement. Besides a cameo appearance reprising his Captain America role in the follow-up Avengers Endgame, the star has made good on his promise. Robert began acting when he was in his early 20s and went on to perform in over 80 feature films. But his influence on the industry has stretched much farther than his acting roles, and even farther than his works as a director. His greatest contribution to the film industry may be the fact that he created the Sundance Film Festival. He started the popular Utah Film Festival in 1978, and it has gone on to become one of the most preeminent in the world. Robert eventually ended up divorcing his first wife. Robert and Lola divorced in 1985 after having been married for 28 years. He then began dating a woman named Sybil Saggers. The two moved in together during the 90s, but didn't marry until 2009. Robert has certainly been through a lot in his long life, and he deserves to take it easy in his retirement. It remains to be seen whether or not Robert will make any more cameo appearances in other pieces of media, but he's certainly left plenty of work behind for his fans. Now it's time to hear from you. Comment down below to share what your favorite Robert Redford role is, or if you think he should have won an Academy Award for his acting. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.